Beautiful. Okay, so Kyeren Regehr's first collection, Cult Life, was shortlisted for the 2021 ReLit Awards. She is the winner of the Raven Chapbook Award for her second book, Disassembling a Dancer. She has been thrice listed for the CBC Poetry Prize and served for several years on the board of the Malahat Review. And we love Kyeren and are very happy to hear her read tonight. I'm not going to take up any more time. Let's hear from Kyeren. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Zoe. I'm really grateful to be here with you and to read again with the very fabulous Mr. Loveday. This is actually the fourth time that Jeremy and I have been at something that we've read together. So that's kind of cool. Thank you so much for everyone who's come to be here on Zoom with us. Amazing turnout. And I'm going to read for about 10 minutes, just a couple of poems from each of my two books. Cult Life is still available at Munro's. This is a narrative about 3 years I spent in a rather cultish ashram in my late 20s. And I don't know what I'm going to read from Cult Life again. So I'm going to read my favorite monologue and then follow with a poem that I've not read before in public. Rupee. For crying out loud, give it a good squeeze and jiggle it out. It's not a scrotum, it's a marigold. We're working to a schedule, darling. We must fill and flourish, glorying on the master's birthday. You've 2 days. 13 beds in this ashram, so I can't be babying you. This isn't fun and games, sweetheart. This is service. Are we dressed for service? Do you imagine we're off to a garden party? You'll be sashaying in the dirt. I say wear old clothes and you show up in a sundress. No one here cares how you look and don't want these neat little granny rows. You're not crocheting. You're not knitting tea cozies. This is a catastrophe of boredom. Dig it all up and start over and smush them in closer. Ignore the how-to tags altogether. I want abundance. I want excess. Think Marie Antoinette. This is an art form. The trowel is your paintbrush, so sketch the soil. No, don't scratch like a cat covering its crap. Use sweeping strokes. Use your whole arm. Don't do what's expected, darling. Go wild. I want spirals. I want galaxies. I want Van Gogh. Think colour bridges. Think tears. No pansies whimpering in the front row with Cosmos tall and wispy in the rear. We don't want your grade school photo. Wonder forget-me-nots like a brook. Draw the eye towards my lily pool. People must tumble into the blooms and disappear from the world. I'm envisioning watery fairyland mystery. I'm seeing Monet. Come on, darling, be daring, be outrageous. Look at me. I mean, really, I never do what's expected. What do you guess is under this sarong? Y-fronts? I'm loose and fruity as a spring breeze, darling. It's about letting go of who you thought you were. Free yourself from this retro housewife fantasy. Strip off your floral and dirty up, darling. Seriously, just take it off and garden in your underwear. Garden naked. No one cares. I have a lot of monologues in this book and he's my favorite. I'm going to miss him. This is a poem in 2 parts. The first part is my 4-year-old self, and the second part is my adult self and my 4-year-old child. What we learn in childhood. I wake from a howling darkness, dream claws raking floor. I'm 4 years old. Storm quakes the bottle glass panes. A drain pipe empties wildly. She appears by my bed, my grandmother. A vision outlined in window flash, brushes damp fringe from my face. Her dry hands spark with static, and the sky lamps again. She rocks me through the halls, shifting ghosts, blowing them back into those cobwebbed and wiry spaces between the walls. Empties me from her arms into the mothy bed of familiar smells, mulled pouch tobacco, sharp mints, grimy tang of coal. The clock ticks on the mantel. My granddad snores. Ceiling chain pull magically clicks the room grey. I wake, choking a scream, hinge upright on my futon lungs, sucking air, basement ghost, salamandering away. It envelopes under the door and the keys in my lock jangle. Rain rages staccato against our palisade of windows, pine arms in belled cuffs shadow puppet the screens. I stumble into her alcove, cluttered behind a curtain, all the stuffed creatures lightning-eyed, then dark again. She sprawled under her blankets, furred in the animal sleep of a 4-year-old, one arm and leg noodling the floor. I tuck the wayward limbs and umpteenth guess my choice to cross the Pacific. Will she ever feel how I felt in my grandparents' bed, those spells of sound safety? And last one from this book, Self-Portrait. The child hides in her mother's tulle-whipped row of thrift shop ball gowns. 3 gold rings on the bathroom vanity, none with diamonds. Guru's photo in a keychain frame, his come-hither smile on the child's nightstand. Fact found in a locked diary. Men's feet, not their noses, are comparable to the size of their fruit. The child trails her mother from keyhole to keyhole, rat-a-tat-tatting for sitters. 2 carefully lost items, a kazoo at a playground, lacy knickers on a lover's bed. Polaroid of the guru's feet on the bedroom wall. The diamond is in the heart, he says. The mother applies mascara in the hall mirror. The child strokes the prickles on her mother's legs. Okay. So this is Disassembling a Dancer. It's available through the Raven Chapbooks and the links on my website, I think. This is also a narrative and poetry very loosely based on my years as a dancer in the 90s. It's a limited edition chapbook and it has like gorgeous art inside it and it's just beautiful. Raven Chapbooks did an incredible job with this book. So I'll read you 2 poems. One is called Street Demons. Street Demons. All night you dreamt rehearsals and now on your only day off you ache to empty yourself of rhythm. But your jeans rag with each stride. Denim percusses between your thighs. Breath hums out one nostril and your feet mark time on the street corner, waiting for the walking man, flex physical intelligence, thieve body from mind's useless attempt at stillness. Gulls a cappella the sky, kite the air. From your diaphragm you begin to lift off, but you'll never be that free. Out a window, bare arms whip a tablecloth. 3 welts erect a spine, contract with the lashes. Tumble dry vents in a condo wall, bellow a coiling metal rumble. Fragrant felt fragments. A crumpled man pisses on the door jamb, coughs like a kettle drum. Troops of stilettos stab the sidewalk. Number 2 tram chortles 3/4 time. Bus flaps its doors open with an electric sigh. Muscle car shoots a drive-by rap and you choreograph involuntarily. Watch the number unfold across your mind's dance floor. A cyclist discharges his gears, whistles, oh, when the saints, sharp as a bayonet in the skull. You costume people in hellfire, in ashen greys, each one a bar in your syncopated prison. Over and over, 2 kids kick at a stop sign, kill you with their finger guns. You'd stage drop dead if you weren't so beat. And this last poem I'm reading for Jeremy because I performed this at the Victoria Poetry Slam finals several years back. I was teaching a spoken word writing class, a performance and spoken word class at UVic at the time, and I kind of accidentally ended up in the slam finals after coercing my students to attend the qualifying events and participate in them. So I thought that I'd pave the way for Jeremy since he won the slam that year. And I first performed this poem that year. I didn't know that it would become a book. It was actually the first poem in this book that I wrote. If this was live, I would have danced through this. You'll have to use your imagination. Understudy. You wonder why you bother. Feet jammed in 3-inch high-backed block characters, leather badly dyed from tan to black, Achilles blistering, shuffle off to buffalo, shuffle off to shimmy chasse pop the head, footlights black, orchestra pit black, from proscenium to balcony, a long echo of black. The leads, a Broadway Venus, her honeyed hair, wind filled and waterfalling her back, your black roots slipped taut into a migraine of a platinum bun. You ghost her, beat for beat, or change kick, or change hip, sing under her violin voice. She walks into a room and you know she's uncommonly rare, very unique, peripatetic, poetic and chic, coveting her strappy gold capizios, diamonds on the soles. She's clearly sold her soul for those hitch kicks, 1,000 yards of thigh and counting. You're counting on a private rehearsal with the assistant choreographer, light, night, partitor, lifting you into the realm of a real role. You dance faster, faster, harder, harder. You want it so bad. Again, 1 and 2 and toe rise, petit jeté body roll. 1 step from singular sensation, and your Achilles burns a dervish as Chicago slides and Fosse fans. You wish the mirror lied. Her breasts are a pair of shiny apples in the proverbial garden, and your twiggy chest won't be more than a padded bra, a matte insert in the glossy Warhol-esque program, a monotone announcement when the house lights go down. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight the role of Val will be played by, but only if she falls. Trips, slips, cracks a hip. If she falls, you in. Fall away, chaîné, 15 seconds of sun, lay out, leap, and down. Take 5. You scissor half moons in the high back shoes with industrial shears from wardrobe. Achilles cooling, stick your head out the stage door into the thundering sunlight and breathe. Breathe something other than rosin stink, sweat musk, dust motes. Breathe that cinnamon swirl of hot donuts on the corner of Flinders and Collins, the butterscotch waft of fresh baked waffle cones. On stage, the musical director warbles, what I did for love, what I did for. You linger in the sun, rock to the beat of the number 6 streetcar, pumping that same track, da-da-dum, 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 flat, chested, and singing hard. Thank you.
Ooh, yeah. Thank you, Kyeren. Feel free to unmute and applaud if you so desire for a moment.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
So much fun. Beautiful.
That was absolutely lovely. And oh, thank you, Jeremy, for dropping that link in the chat there. Find Kieran's books here. Lovely.
Thank you.
All right. So we will give a chance to have a longer unmuted moment and chat with both readers afterwards, but I'm just going to go on and read my intro for Jeremy. So Jeremy Loveday is a 3-time victorious Poetry Slam City Champion and the 2020 winner of the Zaccheus Jackson Nyce Award. Jeremy's video poems have been viewed over 1 million times. He writes and speaks powerfully on topics including healthy masculinities, climate change, love, gardening, and urban wildlife. And I do like to dig up a quote, if I can, from our featured readers in their introductions. So I found this quote in an interview with Megaphone magazine. Jeremy said, "My advice is just for people to speak their truth rather than the truth. Speak from your own experience, from your own heart. People so rarely do it that when people hear that, they react to it so strongly that you'll find support." So there we go. Without further ado, please welcome Jeremy Loveday.
Hi, everyone. I'm just trying to get my screen there. Great. Hi, everybody. Really excited to be with you. Would have been great to be in person, but also really glad to join you virtually and to hear all the amazing poems on the open mic. And Kyeren, your words were stunning, so thank you very much. And yeah, I want to acknowledge that I'm coming to you today from the homelands of the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, the Lekwungen people. And over the pandemic, I've spent a lot of time at home and doing things that build a sense of attention to home, and including gardening and feeding the birds and all those cliche pandemic things. And that has given me time and made me think more about what it means to be at home as a settler on the lands of the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, and how to learn and unlearn how to be here in a good way. And this poem touches on that. The first line of the poem, or the title of the poem, comes from a poem by Noor Hindi, and her poem, "Fuck Your Craft Lecture, My People Are Dying." And the poem title is "Colonizers Write About Flowers." It's true. The pollen has powdered my nose, and I feel the need to tell the world about it. Today, I managed to stop and sniff and not snap the hyacinth's neck. When I started writing about my garden, I thought it was a practice of growing my attention, of unearthing tender devotion to the beauty which surrounds me, the destroyer. There is more, though. I'm also learning to tend without the need to control, to de-weaponize my care. When I write of the hope of saving seeds, it is a promise to cultivate the soil for next season's bounty, to place the flower's stem down the barrel of my loaded gun, this country, my male body, all I have been taught and want to unlearn. Thank you very much. This next poem is also kind of a teaching from the garden, and it's called "Become Death." It's another new one. I think the last time I featured at Planet Earth Poetry was 2013, so it's good to be back. It's been a while. My body too will turn, every ounce of joy and shame to dirt. Invite the writhe and wriggle of worms, heat and rot, blossoming, decay and fungus. Thank you. Thank you for making me alive again. Again, always being born, even in death always, and no, this is not my antidote for uncertainty or sanctuary from fear of living a life unworthy of the mercy that I have been given, which I am given every time I see lovers kissing on a park bench, a man kneeling to eye level to make a child feel safe, or when I am told I love you by an old friend, even though we have lived many years without these words. And yes, a comfortable silence is also an earned mercy, a letting go. I swear on the best intentions of anyone who has caused harm that we too are worthy of rotting back into earth, of turning apology into dandelions, roadside of blackberries, thicket of Scotch broom, thank you. To the seed which first reaches into the soil before pushing back toward the light, I too seek this grounding, but please don't bury me in a casket that won't let me go. Thank you. My cat is sleeping pretty close. I'm hoping I don't wake her up, because then she'll be a total rascal, but I'll get to show it to you. This next poem is called Mnemonics, and it's a draft title, but here it is. Anyone know Frank Ocean? Music of Frank Ocean? If not, I encourage you to look him up. I choose the long way home, down the train tracks, to listen to Godspeed by Frank Ocean, or the mixtape that lover made when everything was blood rushing to the phantom limb of summer. When I promised to leave anchors in every blue sky to remember the shape of the clouds the day you first kissed me. Or the bus ride, when we first met and we barely spoke, you were that lover. And now we've become each other's shelter. Let us never forget the storms that we were. could become, have lived through. Birthdays keep arriving more quickly. The safety we have found could leave us searching unless we make a practice of living courageously, of pushing ourselves to the edge of the diving board, the bend of the highway, the flinch of a fallow question we must let truth belly flop off our tongues. Cannonball, maybe. What good is safe harbor if it is not a place to raise the sail of our truest selves? Let our love be that place. Let us seal each memory with lavender, scented to remember this promise. We will make of our time something extraordinary, small, and deserving of attention, a life worthy of us, taking notice. Thank you. This one is, growing up, I loved the band Nirvana. And so this poem is, it's called Alive on the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah River. And Nirvana's put out a live album called From the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah River. And that's the river that runs through Aberdeen, Washington, and where Kurt Cobain grew up. And he would take shelter under the bridge there. And so wrote this after a bit of a pilgrimage there, I guess. And I'll give a content warning for allusions of self-harm. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself for that, if that doesn't sound like something you want to hear. 3 tanks of burnt rest stop coffee from Victoria to Aberdeen, Washington, to grease the laces of my Converse with Wishkah River mud. 20 years too late. Used condoms and Coors Light strewn, lyrics sharpied on cement, reminders of desperation dismissed as youthful angst, that I have failed to burn out or fade away. Middle-aged somehow, yet smoking under a bridge, disappearing into my cassette tape, into screams of a man who once took refuge in this filth, who plucked heat from pain and pulverized sensitivity through a distortion pedal into a string of light that made everything exhale at once. And back then, I was a mosquito bouncing off a magnifying glass, hoping to burn or at least let others smell my smoke. Hell, warm your hands if you wanna. I was a convert to the gospel of fuck it all, with grace really wringing out our riverbanks, calling on the flood. But all we wanted was a basement to turn the stereo way up, to headbang until our necks hurt. And yes, we cut ourselves too. For release, only thing we felt we had control over. I've been to the mouth of the river, Kurt. I'm still tender. I try not to fake it, I promise. And you should see my garden. Everything is in bloom. Even the bruised fruit is shouting out for life, yet all the heroes I once had are dead. Thank you. I've been doing spoken word for a long time. Got into it. I guess I had a teacher in high school who showed me spoken word, and it really, Anita Roberts at Esquimalt High, shout out. But I've been performing now since, I don't know, almost 20 years. But I've never put out a book, so I'm working on my first manuscript, and with John Barton's been editing it with me, and that's been excellent. Thanks to Canada Council. And so I was asked if there are books to sell. I don't, but maybe hopefully one day. This poem's called Tug of War, and just gonna have a sip of water. On both knees, I strike the pose of someone searching for a wedding ring or their lover's contact lens. Yes, friends, I do invite you to picture me hunched over beneath the cherry tree, which is in full and rapturous blossom. Above that is the inside joke called the sky, and all the spycraft and space junk, and maybe a billionaire or two adrift in their egos or whatever. Because, friends, the reason we're all here is the reason that I'm on my knees, attracting questions like, hey, what are you looking for? Do you need any help? I don't, but you got to see this. And they lean in, half interested, and see nothing at all. But here it is. Here it is. This ant right here. And yes, there are many, but this is the one. I watch as it shoulder presses an alfalfa sprout, the very same sprout that escaped my mouth seconds ago. The ant heaves and attempts to drag this errant and under-celebrated sandwich topping, bending it into a U shape before it bounces back straight. And by this point, I'm sure you, friends, can understand that I'm into it. Like I'm really into it. I'm audibly cheering the ant on, like, you can do it. Your nest is this way. And the other ants arrive on the scene and they're trying to help. At least I think they're trying to help, but I don't speak star or black hole or complex chemical compound, whatever it is that brings them to bump heads before bustling off in a different direction. And sure enough, they all leave. And so it's just the ant and me. And being the helpful guy that I am, I lift the opposite end of the sprout, coaxing little guy. And when I lift, the ants lift too. And maybe we'll be a good team. But before I know it, we're in a tug of war. And the ant pulls and pulls. And I don't want to embarrass the little guy by letting him win. So I tug back a little. And friends, I know what you're thinking. Holy shit, you're an asshole for trying to steal such a feast. Finders, keepers, and all that. Then my mom, whom I love very much but haven't hugged in a year, speaks from behind her sandwich and says, so how's your garden coming along? And I reply. And when the satellites and I look back down, the ant and the sprout are gone. Maybe I'll do two more or something. How are we doing for time? I had a, cool, yeah, I set up a timer, but then didn't press start. So it says zeros.
2 more is great, thanks.
Perfect. Cool. This one is a little bit, it's about, I guess, the connection that we have in terms of we're constantly connected, but also more of us are lonely than ever. I actually wrote this prior to the pandemic, but it feels maybe more true now. And it's also yeah, a little bit about, I don't know, I'll just let it talk for itself. It's called Digital Panopticon. And it was like this. On the bathroom wall, I see it scrawl. Opt out of the digital panopticon. Can't watch this. Our big ideas are being locked into smaller and smaller boxes. Luckily, creativity, imagination, they're locksmiths. They call it progress. Be honest, are we still picking our own dreams, or is it an algorithm, a schism between numbers and other numbers? And if it's an equation, what are we equal to? Profits, losses, stop it. Slow wisdom sits on my bookshelf. I haven't read it. I've forgotten how to read. Too fast, too distracted. I long for the absence I've been lacking, so I blow it open, big thoughts and big emotions pinning on the 4 walls of each box they try to fit us in. Then I realize I'm the they that other people are theying about. And I wish that I'd unravel in the ways that I used to, but I'm learning to tiptoe on a tightrope. I am the tightrope. Balance has never been my strong suit. I started wearing a suit as performance art. I was my only audience, thinking myself a trickster, but total immersion left my subversion undetectable even to me, and it's uncomfortable to admit that, so I reach for my phone. And phone means sound, and what I really need is quiet. Connecting without connecting allows us to never be alone. It allows us to feel alone even when we're with other people, to the point where I am the lock and the locksmith. to the point where I'm scrolling through curated profiles of strangers searching for the answer when I see it, the blue ballpoint pen on the bathroom wall telling me to search for silence, to search for absence, to search for the magic that grows in the distance between who we are and who we project ourselves to be. And then I think to myself, I better make more time to read. Thank you. I'll do one more here. It's been super fun, and the poetry on the open mic was excellent, and yeah, everything, Kyeren. So yeah, thank you so much to Planet Earth for the invitation, and I'll look forward to seeing you in person when that is safe to do so. This one, I guess, outside of the personal connection that I've been longing for throughout COVID. The other thing that I really miss is dancing, and so this is about that. It's called When I Dance. When I dance, when I really dance, I think of those that I love, sketch them into the moment my movements become fuller, more fluid, a looseness flocks to my arms, a murmuration of starlings bursts from my chest, the rest is space, that is where I feel you. You fill the breath around me with wine. I blow bubbles and laugh at time. I dance so full that I can feel outward expansion on my limbs, my muscles tense and release. There's a science to this. I am not thinking of it. I am not thinking of it. I'm not thinking of anything except for the people that I love the most, scattered in their own dances around the world, family, friends, memories come flooding into focus. And then I think of you. And it's the first time your image has come to me through my movement. And this is my prayer, I know this. And I'm not used to new feelings or faces in these moments, and everything evolves, especially love. And you make it new again, like some dissonant cacophony of drums finally coming into the same rhythm, how everyone can feel that it is right. The baby begins smiling. The old man no longer needs the wall to hold him up, for he is dancing. There is laughter from the eldest drummer. He knows this feeling. He has been waiting. It's too much for the woman in the front. She begins spinning in circles and letting out an ecstatic call unfamiliar to the stoic culture of the crowd. This raises the energy more. The room is pulsing. My hips have loosened. My feet rarely touch the ground. I am the bass drum. You are the beat drop. Your image has left the ground and is now inside of me. A fez is whirling in my blood. The starlings come down, lift me to the sky, and I have felt love in the form of water. She has cleansed me. The moon comes down to kiss me, shocked. I stumble backwards, raise my arms up to the sky like, give it to me, moon. Give it to me, moon. I land. Refind myself in the music, and there you are. Every love poem recited at once, moving effortlessly from my well-kissed and still trembling lips. Thank you.
Yay! Yay!
Woo!
Yay! Beautiful.
Brilliant.